Come join Libby, Molly, and Tiffany, the ladies of Consignment Chats, where we talk about all things consignment.
Hey, y'all. Welcome to episode 17. Hi, ladies.
Hi.
Morning. Today, we are going to talk about inventory management, more specifically, tracking that inventory, that side of management. Managing consignment inventory, it can be daunting, but it doesn't have to be. There are several ways that you can easily track this information, scale your consignments once you have your contract in place. And if you need help with that, you can look at our episodes, I believe it's 6 and 9, where we talk about terms of consignment. So if you do not have your contract ready, make sure you get that done so that that helps you in this process we're going to discuss today. So there are several key factors that one needs to take in mind when you're tracking your inventory. There are many different pieces to that puzzle. It can be your consignor's personal information, your payout information, the items that they're consigning. There's a lot of different details that come into play. So what we decided to do today is let Tiffany and Libby share the way that they track their consignment. Their business is very different. They're different sizes, different ways they run things, and you can get opposite ends of how they do them, and they're both very impressive, I think. So we're going to start today, Libby, with you. Are you going to start us out?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm so excited to show everybody. This is probably my favorite part of the whole process, is actually the inventory.
Really?
Last week we talked about photography, not my favorite. This actually is my favorite. I like spreadsheets. I like numbers. I like to know all that stuff. So I am excited to show you guys this.
A little bit of a Spreadsheet nerd, are we?
A little bit. Yeah, a little bit. So one thing I just wanted to share before we start is from Scavenger Life. Those of you that listen to the Scavenger Life podcast, they're like the OG of, reselling podcasts. And what they say, and I really took this to heart, was you need to track what you're comfortable with. I mean, there are the basic necessities you need to track, right? Like your consignor, payout information, like Molly said. But past that point, you need to track what you're comfortable with the numbers. Some people do a very cursory, high level tracking. Other people, the details make them feel more comfortable. So it's kind of what you're comfortable with and what you need to know in order to run your business efficiently. And it is different for everybody. It is different for everybody. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to share my screen. And for those of you listening, if you do want the visual, you can head over to YouTube and take a look, but I'm going to do my best to describe this here. Are you guys okay? You can see the screen?
Yep.
All right. So the inventory management system I use is Simple Consign by Traxia. I have used several different inventory management systems. This one is my favorite. It is a cloud-based service, so I can use it. Molly can use it. If I have a virtual assistant, they can use it. And I really like that flexibility. Okay, so basically it takes care of all the behind the scenes work and calculations, and it's just this big cloud-based database that holds all your information, does all your calculations for you. Okay, so I'm gonna add a new consignor, and I think this is a really good place to start. So I'm gonna say, I'm gonna put the name, I'm gonna make something up, I'm going to put consignment chats at gmail.com. That's our, if you need anything, that's our email address.
Email us there.
Yeah. You put phone number, street address, and you just track all that. Now in the I also like to specify how they like to be paid. And I'm just going to fill out all the information here. Okay, and then you consign, and I think everybody should do this, is everybody should have a unique consigner ID that is independent of every other variable in your database, in your spreadsheet. Each person needs a unique ID. And my system tells me if I, already have somebody with this consignor ID, or it automatically generates one. Okay, and in here, the system sets up, you set up all your parameters like Molly talked about the contract. So we do 60% is the default percentage. This software also gives you the opportunity to do a flat split or a tiered split. We just generally do the default percentage. You can select to pay by check. And with this software, what I really like is it gives consignors access. So it gives them real-time access to their account. They can see everything barcoded in the system. They don't have to call. They don't have to, be asking questions. They can see how we have such stuff priced, things like that. I'm going to show you that in just a second. Okay. So I'm going to pay this consignor by check. And I think I'll actually show you guys how to run a quick check if I can figure out how to do that on a test account. So hang with me here for a second. Okay, I'm going to save. And what I do up here in the contact information, it just lets me save. I'll save a photo of their contract. So instead of tracking it off site, I track it right in the system, and I'll go ahead and I will actually put their contract and associate it with their consignor ID on their account.
Very smart.
Yeah, so they can see that as well.
Very smart.
That's just a little hack I figured out. I didn't even tell Simple Consign I'm doing that yet.
I don't remember us doing that. Is that new?
That's something I did, in the past. I like to keep everything online and in the cloud since we have several people at different locations working, so anybody can access the information at any time.
Very smart.
Okay, and I send the consignor an access invite. So what Simple Consign does is they send from my email at Conshy Consignment an access invitation to the consignor. They log on, they can see all their information.
Which does save time with questions, because a lot of times they can just answer their questions themselves by going onto their account.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so we have, I forget what I gave the consignor ID. It was LT
123, I think.
123. All right, so I'm going to search that consignor.
Highlight their name.
I just add the inventory from this screen here. And it's usually a little quicker than that. But
so those on the podcast who are listening, I know this can be kind of difficult with the dead air time, but what she's doing is typing in inventory under there, and she puts in the description and the price and what category it falls in our store.
Thank you, Molly.
You're welcome. Well, it's easier because you're concentrating on typing, and I
right.
Talk about
it's a little hard to
doing.
narrate and type. So we have, so I have two pieces of inventory for this consignor. And you can see it assigns them a unique barcode, which we use for the checkout. And you can see the start date. Our parameters are in this, again, we refer back to the contract. Our parameters are set in the system as 60 days. So this item is active for 60 days. Then it goes into an in grace period for 2 weeks. And, we give them one last hurrah to sell. If not, they are you can donate them, convert them to store inventory, return them to the consignor, anything like that. And then at that point, you would go ahead, whatever the consignor has on their account, and issue a payout. And you just put your check number in. Sometimes I want to credit.
I want to throw something in real quick.
Yeah.
Like before, on the other screen you were on, when you get your inventory in, the other beautiful thing is there's a little button you can click that prints out your labels. If you want to label your inventory, you just click a button so that once you get all your inventory in, as long as that check is done, as soon as you hit complete with your inventory, up pops your print screen and you print it and out prints all of your labels like Libby is showing in the picture.
So I'm showing you here. So this is what I attach to all of my bags. So I bag or box everything and I attach this to the item. When it sells, I just scan it in and get the sale price. And
I'm going to show how I do mine because I don't do the labels like Libby already has. I print mine on printer paper and then I'll just paper cut them out and stick them on that way. So mine just print out. And the nice thing is our scanner still will barcode scan the barcodes.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry, I didn't mean to take you out of the check, but I wanted to go
that's
back to that.
perfect.
Printing the label thing is nice. So.
Yes, it really is. So, and then you can pay out.
Tiffany, what? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Tiffany.
I'm sorry. I'm just wondering, like, do you put in, I guess, like when you had those items already saved, but would you normally just put a new consignor in and then start putting in then go through their items and manually put in all their pieces?
Yep. And that's kind of what I was doing with the inventory there. The little test numbers I put in was just, you just go in and you just type in all their inventory.
Yeah, you would have to imagine her sitting at the table going, okay, this is a size small, J. Crew, tank top, and she'd type in size small, J. Crew, tank top, silk, and then put the price in. So.
Okay.
All right, go ahead with the payout, Libby. It's good so ask these questions because other people may be having these questions.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I totally appreciate the questions. That's great. Chat. All right, so you pay out. You can pay out by check. I do check, Venmo, PayPal. I give, they have their options, and I usually set that up ahead of time. I do not wait until the end of the consignment period to ask people how they want to be paid out. Set that up in the beginning when you set up their consignor account. It'll just save you headache. You don't have to contact them. You just pay them out. They don't have to worry about anything. You don't have to worry about any extra headache. So check, you put the amount and the check number, and you can print a check from the system, or you can just hand write it out. And it depends on how I run my checks. Sometimes I do. Sometimes I run them on the printer. Sometimes I hand write them, but it's your option. When you have a lot of checks, it is really nice to be able to run them through the printer. All right. And that's about it. There's all sorts of reporting functions where you can see your sales, what you're entering into inventory. It's just a very robust system, and it handles all the behind the scenes transactions and does make it a little easier. Now, there is a cost to any inventory management system, any point of sale system. We're going to kind of get to that at the end. After Tiffany shows you that, we're going to talk about the pros and cons a little bit, and drop any comments below. Let me know if you have questions, if you need more information, and let's see how Tiffany does it.
All right.
I have one more question for you though.
Sure.
On the reports tab, so can you print out a report that itemizes what you're just paid them for and send that to them?
Absolutely. I mean, there's no limit to the amount of reports you can run. You can set up custom reports. You can do it by consignor. You can do sales by day. You can do sales by the reason I'm not clicking on that to show you guys the reporting feature is because I have people's personal information in there, and some of my personal business, my business information. So I'm sorry, I don't want to go ahead and click on that tab, but
no, I was just wondering because I have my biggest consignor likes to see the report. So anyway, I'll show you what I do for her.
So with this system, one of the awesome things is, so they have real-time access to their account, right? They can see everything. They can see the history. I've been using this system, I think, for 7 years now, and they can see that if they've been consigning with me for 7 years, they can see all the history of everything. Let's say it's tax time and they want to print out, their consignment earnings. They can go ahead and do that on their own. You don't have to generate anything for anybody. they can do that. If they want that, you can generate it for them, but they have access to all that information.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, does that help?
I mean, goals here.
Right, right. All right, so I'm going to stop sharing. You guys good with that? And then
Yeah.
all right.
I think that was great.
All right, good. Hope it
Now,
helps.
Tiffany,
Okay, let me see if I
tell us your system.
can do this here. All right.
There we go. Sharing your screen.
All right, so let me see. So this is my spreadsheet. I don't have a system that I pay for. I just started out with this spreadsheet. I do have my consigners color coded. See, all the different colors are related to codes. I mean, the colors relate to consigners. And I just did this. I took out their last name so you wouldn't see it, but this is my like color code legend. And then basically the rates, because different people have different rates, and there's different things that are broken down different ways. So I have that here as my legend. So I'll try to explain this for the people not seeing it. My first column is the bin number that it's in my shed. The second column is this number. They're just all the items. Every time I get an item in, I just number it. I started at 1, or when I started numbering, and I just keep numbering them consecutively. Mm-hmm. This is the initials of the consignor. The A means it's active on eBay, since that's my main platform. I think we might have mentioned, I don't know if we ever mentioned this, but sometimes eBay will lose your listings. So I have this little count number. This right here counts the A's. And so this number right here should match my active eBay listings. And if that doesn't match, then I know I have a problem.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
See, because that's how I really like to track to make sure I don't lose anything. I've just started sending more listings to list perfectly. So that column means it was sent to list perfectly. And then I just have columns for all the different platforms and the dates they were put on the platform. And then I have the item, of course, the description. If I spent any money on the item, which I usually don't, but on this watch, for instance, I had to spend some money to get it working. It wasn't working when it was given to me, but it's a really expensive watch, so I didn't mind spending the money to get it working. Gotcha. Also, it was on one of those watch pillows, and the pillow it was on had sort of disintegrated. So I bought a new pillow to put it on. So I had some expenses with that one, but that's not normal. But anyway, so if I spend any money on that, that's there. And then the item price, and then when it sells, I'll fill this in the shipping costs. And then I have the platform fees go in here. If there used to be PayPal fees, there's not really anymore. And the shipping costs here. So that will be my total cost. It tabulates there, and I'll put the sale date and how and when it's sold and things like that. And then I do the payout breakdown. This stuff doesn't get filled in until that item moves to sold.
Gotcha.
So like, for instance, let's just pick something here. If this item right here sells, I will cut it and I will move it to this tab right here, which is my sold items. Put it here so I don't remember to put it back. And here is where I would fill out all the sale information. The sale information.
Ah, okay.
So, and then I also just track the state that I shipped it to, because I like to know that like where it went. And so then I have my payout information. So then what I would do, so this particular item is a lorry item. So then I would take that and make, after I fill in all the fees and everything, I get the final thing, I would make a copy of that and I would put it on Lori's page. And I don't want to show you all of the stuff here, but right. I would just put it there, and then there's a grand total at the end where it totals up.
Okay.
So that's how I do it. And then,
So then you could print Lori's page out for her if she asked to have that, correct? Would you?
yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So let me show you one that doesn't have much on it, like this one, for instance. So here there is a running balance. So when I add the new lines, it gives you a running balance, and then I'll put the date that I paid and how much I put how much I paid and then the date I paid it, and that will zero it out, and then we'll just start the balance again.
Okay.
So does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
All right. So
Can I enter? I wanted to just say that you do, like I was talking about before, like you need to track the numbers you're comfortable with. So I don't, if you'll notice, track any platform fees.
right.
I just kind of roll that into my, so if anybody's thinking, hey, where did Libby put those? I personally don't track that. Tiffany does. So I just wanted to throw that on the
Right. So yeah. So Libby said this before about her payouts, but it's just sale price. Well, less shipping, right? No?
less shipping, right?
Yeah, less shipping. And so whatever her percentage is, sale price less shipping. But I do figure out all the fees, and then I do the breakout after the fees. And so our percentages are a little different, but we have talked about that. It probably works out to be the same in the end. It's just mine does require a little bit more work, but I'm learning here, so I might change that.
Absolutely.
I mean, as I grow and get bigger, I'm open to suggestions. And
you also sell on a lot more platforms, so that's probably great information for you to have in order to make decisions about, is that platform worth it?
Right.
And it's very easily accessible. So I mean, that really makes sense. That really makes sense for you.
Right. So
I mean, yes, as you continue to grow, you may need to look into, a different way, but this is just, I'm amazed.
Not everything goes on every platform, of course, because if it's not, only certain things go on Etsy or whatever, So, but there are 4 main platforms: are eBay, Poshmark, Mercari, and Facebook, and that's where most things go. Facebook shop, our Facebook shop on our business page, not the Facebook marketplace. I'm working on Facebook marketplace, but that's this other column here. So yeah, there's a lot. It's getting there.
It's great. It's amazing.
Great. So that clearly shows 2 very different ways to track your inventory. And I kind of do both. I'm not going to share mine with yours because I have my own personal spreadsheet I keep, but it is not very detailed at all. But the majority of mine, I work with Libby, so I do mine through Traxia, but then I keep my own personal breakdown of some stuff too. So I kind of do both, but the more I grow, the less I pay attention to my smaller spreadsheet. So.
Very cool. Yeah. And I think that's a good segue into, how do you decide what's going to work for you? You're just getting started. Where do you start? And
Right.
I think a simple spreadsheet with the things that you mentioned in the very beginning, Molly, is a great place to start.
That basic information.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, and then, Tiffany, her spreadsheets are awesome. It's a lot of upkeep, I think. Like, at what point does it make sense where, you're not tracking it and you're probably very efficient at it. So maybe that point is, when you get to 10,000 items, 15,000 items, I don't know. Is maybe you want to look into a software system so you're not spending the time, but like, where is that line? Like, kind of have in your head where it is, that a software program might work for you, and do your research. I learned that one the hard way because this is my 3rd system. Love it. I wish I started with it from the beginning. Now, the other thing I want to mention is when I started with Simple Consign, and I think most of the big consignment software have this capability, they do a free data migration. So they will take your spreadsheets, they will take whatever system you're working on, and they will migrate that data into your new system. Whether it's, for me, it's Traxia, it's Simple Consign. And they migrated all that data overward. So when you're ready, it's not as daunting of a task as you might think it is. Like if you have your spreadsheets, they will generally guide you through that process.
That's fabulous, because I was looking at the thing and I was like, oh my God, but I have to input all these things, 943 items before
That's nice that they'll do that for you.
Yeah. And I think they still do. When I did it, they migrated all my data as part of the, packet, as part of the monthly price for it.
I would think they would. I would think as they grow, you do more of that. I know like the nonprofit platforms I worked with for that kind of data for donations and all, that was part of buying into their platform. They would migrate all of your stuff in for you.
Yeah.
So hopefully they still offer that. So we can do a link to Simple Consign here, correct?
Absolutely. And I know some people in our group use Liberty. I've never used that. That was not one of the platforms I had previously used. And but I hear great things about that as well.
All right.
Yeah.
So it's definitely one of those, make sure your contract is in place, right? We've talked about that. You want to have that main information together, because that's what's going to help you develop your tracking and how you're split and all that, whether you're using a spreadsheet or software. You need that contract in place with all of that information. And just like Libby said, determine what's best for you based on your size of business, how many consignors you have, how many items you have. If what you're doing in a spreadsheet works great, stick with the spreadsheet, come up with where your moment's going to be to make that change. So I think that's great. I hope that helped a lot of people. It was fun seeing your screens and looking at the two different ways. I like the screen share, and I hope our podcast people head over to YouTube for that. But I really want to check in with Tiffany and see what's going on in our little community over there. What kind of chatter we got going on over there?
Okay, well, last Friday, we did our first live training in our group, and we talked all about selling platforms. And that was so much fun. And talk about spreadsheets. Let me tell you, I'd be a little fun calling Libby a spreadsheet nerd, but really I'm a spreadsheet nerd.
You are.
Tiffany makes it pretty. I just put the numbers in there. I don't.
Tiffany's spreadsheets are beautiful. That's why I print them out, because I think they look pretty in my room.
Oh my gosh, and look at that. It's like a work of spreadsheet.
Isn't it?
Art.
It's just beautiful. I think I'm going to frame it and hang it somewhere in my room. Go ahead, Tiffany.
So I did that spreadsheet that Molly was just showing about all the different selling platforms, eBay, Poshmark, Mercari, all the fun stuff. And you can have access to that spreadsheet if you'd like. If you join our Facebook community and send us your email, we will give you access to that spreadsheet. And it talks about all the different the rates, the listing fees, final value fees, all the fun fees, and shipping stuff, and everything that you need to know about the platforms to help you compare. I guess and it's going to be a work in progress. Like we're going to keep adding to it.
But so I think it would be a great way for somebody to see what would work for their business.
Right.
Like, oh my gosh, where do I start? There's so many platforms. And by looking at that spreadsheet, you can literally say, oh, wait, I sell handmade goods. Etsy's probably my best bet. Etsy and, eBay are probably my best bet. Facebook Marketplace and eBay. Yeah.
I just realized that I didn't have that on there as a line. Like if there's a niche to the platform, I didn't put that in there. So I'm going to add that.
Oh, cool.
So we'll always be adding to that. But if you have access, you always have access.
Absolutely.
So. Yeah, I think that's an awesome perk. I mean, wow. Yeah, I think that's going to really help a lot of people.
I do too. I do too. So
it helped me already. Sometimes you just got to narrow your focus a little bit, there's so much information. There's so many bright, shiny platforms out there that you want to try.
It can be so overwhelming.
Yeah.
Also, there's people have preconceived notions of certain platforms.
Mm-hmm.
Like, for instance, people still think of Depop as just strictly streetwear, but really you can do anything on Depop. They take home decor now, and they do all sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's just, well, you just have to put yourself out there. I always think that the more sites you're on, the more eyes you get on your item. Yeah, sure, eBay's the main one, and that's great. But if it doesn't sell on eBay, just like what Q from QC's client said, if it doesn't perform on eBay, start sending it out to other ones and see if you can do better there. And
Yeah, I thought that was a really good tip and a really interesting philosophy of how to manage the different platforms for sure.
I've started doing that now too. We wait like about 2 weeks before we start putting it anywhere else.
Good.
Yeah.
So, and we've gotten lots of new members, right, who've joined us in our community and on our Instagram and Facebook have been very busy and growing. So if you guys enjoyed chatting with us, please remember first, subscribe. If you're on YouTube, subscribe, click that little bell so that you get notified when we get information up there if we ever go.
I love how we say click that little bell, click that bell. Did you ever notice on the other channels what they say? A lot of the more masculine channels? Because
I do, and I can't think of what it is.
Smash that bell.
Smash that bell.
No, we're like, click that little bell.
Just take your little finger and you touch that little bell.
Like,
and
smash
get
that
those
like
notifications so you can be a part of our community and when we're busy. We may start doing lives someday. Who knows? Why am I even putting that out in the universe right now?
I think I'm thinking about that this morning. Actually, I was like, we need to
I know. Why would I even put that in the universe?
Libby will push.
I was going to say, Molly, now that you said it, I will make it happen.
What was I thinking? We don't even have a schedule, but there's no block for that anywhere in my calendar.
Oh,
no block. We'd have to
bring Holly back.
We'd have to have Holly back so we could block that in somehow because it was not fit in my schedule. But
she'll tell us how to do it.
Anyway, you guys subscribe, share this information with your friends, hit us up with some reviews, comments. We love nothing more than to hear from you guys because it gives us that energy to keep going and to know that, we are connecting with some people. People are getting things from what we're doing because we sure love it. We enjoy it. We have fun. So when we hear from y'all, it just gives us that extra push. So we've got all our social media pages. The easiest way to find all of these places is to head on over and visit consignmentchats.com. And that's the easiest way to get connected in all those different areas. So until then, ladies, and until next week, cheers.
Cheers. Wait, you can see my lipstick this week.
Oh, bye, y'all.
Thanks for joining Libby, Molly, and Tiffany, the ladies of Consignment Chats, as we talked about all things consignment. To learn more and keep chatting, find Consignment Chats on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Facebook, and Instagram.